monetary interest in this. But that said, I have a caveat I have to say that none of the opinions expressed at this program represent the opinions of the Berks County Community Foundation. So with that, it's my privilege to introduce Mandy McCoy, the CEO of the Berks History Center. Mandy, you're on.
All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. This is my first presentation on behalf of the Berks History Center, so I'm excited to be here this morning. I joined on in about early October as the new executive director. And so I wanted to talk to you all a little bit about what has been going on at the History Center, what we plan to do in the future, some campaigns we have going on, and then some of our upcoming events that are either free or discounted for the public. So I am going to jump right into my presentation here, and please let me know if you can see the presentation okay. Awesome. So this is our Berks History Center building. It is on Center Avenue. It's on Route 61, just past the stadium, if you're not familiar. And it has been here since 1928. And the History Center was founded in, I believe, 1869. So we've been around for quite some time with this new building being built in the 20s. It has really interesting construction. It is an entirely concrete building. So at the time, they were looking to make sure that there was absolute minimal risk of fire happening. So our building is really unique in that way. Let me get to my next slide. Oh, that's me. So, yep, that's me. So we'll just move forward because I've already talked about myself. So what I have for you guys next is a little bit of a tour of the History Center that kind of goes over what exhibits we have and what sorts of things we do here on a daily basis. So I'll get that started for you, and please let me know if you can hear it and all okay.
Welcome to the Berks History Center, located at 940 Center Avenue in Reading, Pennsylvania. The Berks History Center, founded in 1869, is a museum and research library dedicated to preserving and sharing Berks County, PA's unique cultural heritage. Our mission is to tell the 300-year story of Berks County and its diverse people, with the aim of building an inclusive understanding of our impact on national history, strengthening our community, and inspiring all audiences now and in the future. We showcase local history through a vast collection of artifacts and documents, educational programs, workshops, and community events. In addition, the Berks History Center publishes a quarterly publication called the Historical Review of Berks County, a historical journal featuring articles from a variety of contributors and historians. The Berks History Center Museum has a vast and diverse historical object collection, exceeding an impressive 20,000 items. Ornate folk art, clocks, furniture, and tools from Pennsylvania's Americana region come to life in over a dozen carefully curated galleries and exhibits featuring our county's rich and industrious past. The museum also houses a large transportation collection, including bicycles, a rare horse-drawn streetcar, a Conestoga wagon, and a Duria automobile. The Henry Janssen Library is the Center for Genealogical and Historical Research. Our organization's archival holdings have grown extensively since our founding in 1869. Included within the Henry Janssen Library collections are over 17,000 photographs, personal and family papers, church and cemetery records, records of local businesses, census reports, blueprints, land deeds, and newspapers dating from the 1790s to the 1990s. 1940s. Along with the museum and Henry Johnson Library, our organization offers a variety of education. Welcome.
Well, it looks like our video is going to stop there because it's having a little trouble loading. I think the internet is off today.
Cold weather.
But what's that?
Cold weather.
Yes, that must be it. The wires are too chilly. But anyway, so you got to see at least a good portion of everything that we have in the museum. That is presently on display. We have so much more in storage that we don't necessarily get to show everybody all the time. But with that said, right now we are in the middle of our revitalization campaign. This has been going on for a few years now. And what we're hoping to do is raise funds to improve the condition of our building, our collections, put some more of those artifacts on display, and really get a sense of community in the museum, so that everybody who is in Berks County right now gets to see themselves when they walk in and have their unique history also displayed. So it's going to be it's a long process, but it's very exciting. Some of the things we are hoping to achieve are, like I said, some of the infrastructure needs, the accessibility and appearance for the visitors, and interactive exhibits, which is one thing I'm really, really excited about. I'll have a little bit more on that later. And then increasing our storage capacity so that we can preserve and protect and display more of the unique items that we have here. So right now, what we have is we're kind of doing the revitalization in phases. So some of the things from phase one have begun already or are finished. For example, we've had the roof fixed. We're having our gutters and things repaired so that we're not pooling water. We protect it for the future. And we're about to start on a major project to have accessible bathrooms put in, as well as opening up the museum a little bit so that we can have a better flow going through the building so that people can actually see all of the exhibits. We've also, of note, we've repaved our parking lot. So if you're coming to visit us, we do have our parking lot next to the Henry Johnson Library, and you may park there while you are visiting. So we do have some off-street parking, which is a plus. So here we are on to our exhibits that we would like to work on. And this is just going to be a sampling of some of the exhibits and plans we have for them. And I'll let you know that in the coming months is when we're going to actually start working on those. So I'm really excited about that. We're going to focus on our downstairs exhibits first. So we do have some objectives, as I kind of mentioned before, is to help kids and visitors alike understand the local history, make that connection with our local themes and national themes as well. And let them be able to kind of think about it critically, think about what our county is experiencing right now and how it was shaped in the past. So this is our downstairs, some plans for that. Now, there are a few things that are going to be a little bit different. I don't know if you can see my mouse on the screen. So you can, okay. So, like I said, we're going to be opening up some of these entryways into different exhibits so that it makes it just way easier to go and see the entirety of our exhibits. If you've been in recently, sometimes it can feel like a bit of a maze. I know I still get lost in the downstairs coming into work. So it's just going to open it up and make some really brilliant looking exhibits. One of the cool features that I'm excited for is our historic heroes. So we're going to have a series of local legends, if you will. And when you come into our lobby, you'll actually be able to interact with the portraits of these folks via video and screens and things like that. So we're really excited about that because people will be able to interact with them in the way that you might not be able to if you're just looking at a painting. And our iron and natural resources, that is something, so we do have the gorgeous Conestoga wagon. It is presently in our basement. We're going to be moving that up to the first floor to display how coal and things were brought to furnaces, and talk about that kind of transportation and industry. That's going to be a tremendous undertaking. So we are really excited about it, but it's going to give that Conestoga such a better area to sit because, like I said, right now it's in the basement. So you can see in that top photo in the corner, she almost touches the ceiling there. So it'll be nice to have the Conestoga in its full glory in the upstairs of the building. One of the other awesome things is our Penn Square model. I am really excited about this as well. We have, it's a colonial representation of Penn Square, and right now it is, I mean, it's a major focal point. We love it. It's gorgeous. But you'll be able to actually interact with the model in the future once we get the exhibits going. So if you have questions about who lived where, you may be able to interact with that person's portrait on the wall, or hear some sights and sounds of what the streets might have sounded like during that time period. Potentially have some touch buttons where kids can also interact and have fun and really, really engage and learn. We're also seeking to improve some of our Indigenous displays. We do have some in the basement right now, but we want to make those a little more interactive, delve a little deeper into that history, and how it formed and shaped our county at large. So you can see some of the main objectives of there. Um, and also, we're also going to be hopefully displaying some of our PA Dutch artwork as well, a bit more than we have out at present, which I'm excited about. Also, my background, I used to work at another museum in the county where we focused on PA German history. So I'll be excited for that little piece of the exhibit. We're also updating our education room. So that is going to have some nice glass partitions so people can look in and see what we're up to. We do have Pennsylvania Dutch classes that take place, language classes, it's one night a week, and they run by semester. But we also will be doing more workshops and other speakers coming in and things like that. So it'll just really help us have a really nice space that we can engage with our students. Here we have the basement. One of the things right now is we do have a hands-on history room in the basement. At some point, we'll be updating the hands-on history room. I'm really excited about it. I believe it was one of the first hands-on rooms for kids in the county. And so we just want to update that a little bit. It gives kids, you walk through a museum, and even me as an adult person, you want to touch stuff. So this gives them that outlet that they can come into the room and actually just touch everything and play with it and interact with it. And I think it helps you to learn more, and it also gets your sillies out. So it'll be helpful when we have school tours and things like that, that they know that they can come in and actually play with some stuff. Our transportation exhibit, this is something else that is going to be really cool and I'm excited about. We have a really rare horse car that is situated in our basement right now. It's going to stay there, but what's going to happen is that the car is going to come to life. So you'll be able to walk through the streetcar, hear the sights or hear the sounds of the horse clopping, the engines running, things like that. And see displays of the city of Reading as if you're going along in the car. So that one will be a really cool exhibit. So we'll also have a new exhibit going on about some of the earlier culture of the county, as well as the opportunity to actually put up some of the really cool like ephemera and things on the walls, and be able to display those things that right now are not able to be displayed or are in storage. And then this is one of the ones I was talking about earlier, where we'll be able to kind of show the way that the city and the county have changed over the years since the mid 1900s. Here is an example of what our trades and industry room might start to look like. Um, right now, it's really cool, and I think it's going to be cooler because we're going to have that interactive ability there. So this kind of just highlights some of the things, like I said, that aren't currently on display, but we'll get to put them on this display. I'm actually excited about the the Reading Premium beer bottles. We have a really remarkable collection of those, and they are really cool. And we're going to be able to highlight those and talk about industry in the county. Second floor. We'll be able to have some extra seating for our auditorium room up on the balcony. So we'll be able to bring more people in and you'll get that cool view from up on the balcony, which was actually just very gorgeously redone by a really dedicated volunteer. So it's beautifully repainted and new plaster and everything. So. So why is it important? Why is it important for us to be improving and updating? The county has changed over the years, and we want it to reflect more of our community members as a whole, and talk about all of the different variations of people and cultures and histories that have combined to make Berks County what it is today. And also, I mean, just some necessary changes where we're, protecting the collection better, protecting the building better, making sure that it's still there for people in the future to come and enjoy and see our history and growth as a city and county. So that is pretty much it for the actual presentation. One of the things I wanted to mention also, though, along with this, and I brought some show and tells. So this weekend, Saturday, is our second Saturday program. This year we are having a visit with the Belsnickel. So if you have some free time on Saturday, come down to the History Center. The Belsnickel will be here. So hopefully you've all been good this year. We also then on Sunday, the 14th, we have our holiday boutique, and I'll put it up. I don't know if you can see it, but our holiday boutique is coming, and it will be from 11 to 4, and it's in conjunction with the holiday house tour in Center Park, and it is free to attend, and we have quite a number of vendors here for holiday shopping. As I said, we also have the Pennsylvania Dutch classes, which has been incredibly popular for people. And we have registration actually, I think, is open right now. And then the next set of classes are going to start on the 5th of January. So there's that. We also have the video talked a little bit about the historic review, which is really cool, and it's a really huge benefit of being a member. You get a magazine, so these are last year's issues, that talks about the different historical stories in Berks County, from some of our local authors, and Charlie Adams as well. He is our editor-in-chief for that publication. So we're excited about that. And then we also have just released our new 2025 holiday ornament. So we do have that available in the museum stores. Really cute. This is a picture from 1925 on Penn Street. So there's a lot more information on our website about that, but I thought I would be sad if I didn't mention it because I think it's really cool and I'm about to buy this one that I have in my hand. So
Well, thank you, Mandy. That's very helpful. I do want to have you start off a little bit. You talked at the very beginning, but I think we want to highlight the fact that you're new to the position. What led you to want to do this? And do these plans reflect your ambitions for the center?
yeah, so like I said, I officially joined end of September, and I had come from another nonprofit in Lancaster County. It's called Clare House, and it was a shelter for women with children who were experiencing homelessness. But my passion has always been history, particularly local history. So I do have my undergraduate degree is in Pennsylvania German studies, with a minor in U.S. history. So it started there. I started my career immediately, accidentally actually, in museum work. And then just the love grew from there. And just a funny note, like when I was a kid, I went to Ole School District and lived in Alsace Township, and my grandmother and grandfather lived in the city of Reading, just around the corner from the Berks History Center. So I used to get to go by here all the time, and I thought, boy, I'd love to work there one day. Little did I know that that would become a reality for me this year. So I'm really excited to be here and really excited to come in kind of on the ground floor of this project going on because there's so much cool stuff that we have and so many really neat exhibits that we have planned. Specifically, as I said before, I really want to focus on representing everybody in Berks County. So, we have right now we have a lot of things on industry, we have some things on the PA Dutch, we have some things on indigenous peoples, but I don't think we're fully capturing the cultural history that does make up Berks County. And so it is really, really premier to me to want to get those exhibits, things like that in, more things from all the cultures that make up our county. And I'm hoping to kind of pull in some consultants and volunteers who might be able to help us with creating some more like going into our Hispanic culture and people that are coming from all of the countries that make up our population here, because I don't think that's presently as represented as I'd like it to be. And yeah, I'm excited to kind of get that in, and that way when our kiddos come to visit during the school tours, they're actually seeing themselves represented. So I think that's really important. That's certainly what got me interested in history in the first place as a kid on tours of museums, and I think we'll be able to do a better job of that.
Thank you for that. And I think that that sort of gets to a bunch of the questions that we're getting, that just, I think there's a sense that the legacy of the History Center has been focused largely on the Pennsylvania Dutch. So it's good to hear you're trying to move that away. In terms of, you talked a little bit about the indigenous, there's a little bit about the African-American population. Almost at this point, nothing much at all about the Hispanic population. How are you going to reach out to expand those experiences and make it more engaging for those populations? What specifically you're going to try to do?
Yeah, so I know oh, I'm sorry, did I
I
missed
said,
the
who else
last?
are you going to try to work with? What organizations or entities are you going to try to work with here in the Berks County region?
Yeah, so I know our curator has actually been working with a few organizations, but I, off the top of my brain, cannot remember who those are. I know that my plan is to, yeah, reach out to a few of the anthropology departments as well in the areas too, because we do have a lot of artifacts to do with that culture, but they are not necessarily able to interpret them and use them in a way that's actually helpful to people when they're coming in to learn a bit about the history and the significance of the pieces that we have.
Are you going to be engaging people to expand a collection to include more things about representing the Hispanic population or the African American population or the indigenous population?
Yes, I think so. Like I said, we're kind of moving in stages, so we have to have the ability to keep those things safe in storage first before we start building exhibits. So that's why the phase one of our construction has to happen right now, and then we get to move on to pulling in those new things, because what we don't want to happen is to have a bunch of really awesome donations come in of items and artwork and things, and then not be able to have a place to keep them safe until such time that we can put the exhibit together.
If people want to help you think about these sorts of exhibits, what should they do? They reach out to you?
I would actually say, yeah, reach out to me, and you can reach me at executive.director@berkshistory.org. And then I would connect you as well with our curator, because she'll have more of a handle on what sorts of things she wants to have in the collections.
One of the things you talked about was trying to show how things have changed here from the 1950s. What exactly are you going to be doing? How are you going to be doing that?
So I think that is more of a question for our curator. She's been kind of involved with the project a little longer than I have, but really just kind of showing specifically, I know one of the items that we'll be doing is pictures of the changes of how our city and county look through the ages, and they'll be on if I'm remembering correctly, it'll be on kind of like an interactive slideshow where you can see today and you can see yesterday, yeah, and see the comparison, and then have information as to why that's different, or what was there, what's there now, and those sorts of things.
Um, you said it's going to be sort of an interactive. How what do you mean by that? How's that going to work?
Yeah, so we'll have things that are touch screen exhibits that you can actually swipe through yourself and look at the comparisons or pull up more information. And they'll also be sometimes we'll have some motion activated where the person or portrait comes to life as you come into the room and talks to you about that exhibit or about what their significance in the county has been.
You talked about some of the environmental challenges and some of the building upgrades that you need to do. There's a person on here that I sort of want to connect you with at some point, Tanya Melendez. Tanya is working with an organization called the Green Building Alliance, which is doing a lot of work in the city of Reading, trying to help them deal with environmental issues, deal with building upgrades, and actually coming up with some creative ways to finance some of those things. Tanya, do you want to talk for a quick minute about the Green Building Alliance and what
Oh
you're
yeah, I'd
doing?
love to hear about that.
Hi, everyone. Green Building Alliance has been around for about 30 some years. It's out of Pittsburgh. It's a nonprofit that gathers and manages funds that are specifically directed to retrofitting or creating new buildings with green environmental aspects in consideration. And right now, we're actually talking to the Reading Public Museum about one of their upgrades because there's funds for museums in particular. So I think we will get to some kind of meeting just to let you know the kind of things that we are able to put you in contact with right now. It depends on what stage of the construction projects you're in, and the expansion project, but there's always room for things to be looked at, even if you're thinking about later on, because there's not only funds for museums per se, but I know that there's funds for placemaking. So as a history center, I was writing in the comments and I actually haven't sent yet. Historically, I've been here since 89 as a diaspora kid. And historically, in the area of Greater Philly, I have seen a lot of cultural centers or museums in a way to expand the way that you're looking to expand not only their location, but their collection and their participants. They have created very successfully temporary shows for a culture in particular. Just to give you an example off the top of my head, there's a collection of carved santos, which is saints, out of Puerto Rico. The Met holds the biggest collection right now in the world of them. But I remember private collectors donating to a very small Philly place trying to create a Hispanic center or historic center. And they borrowed that collection for a bit. And then they did about a 3-month exposition on them. They charged rent. And not only did we keep showing up, we became members, we stayed on for lectures, we stayed on for speaker series, because that's another one that was really, really big for us, is speaker series that kind of bring up that whole connection of the diaspora with the history of our own cultures. But back to the Green Building Alliance, there's a lot of ideas and things that we can talk about, because you have the potential to hit a couple of different grants in placemaking, in historic building, and the fact that you are a museum. So there's 3 separate things that I can think of at the top of my head that we could probably find you contact with.
Great, thank you, Tanya.
Thank you, Dave.
That is super awesome. And yeah, to touch on what you said about like the rotating exhibits, I think that's something I forgot to mention in our one of our galleries is going to be specifically for rotating exhibits and different things. So, you know, maybe bringing things in from other local museums or highlighting a piece of our collection that can't necessarily be exposed to light for a long time, and having those things in, and then hopefully having a speaker series in conjunction with it during our second Saturdays. So that's also in the works too. And I think it is really a good way to like engage with people that we might not be engaging with right now.
I'm going to ask somebody else in the audience here to speak for a second, because she's been submitting a bunch of comments. Enid, do you want to talk a little bit about your thoughts, your suggestions? You have a couple good suggestions here about things they might want to do, places they might want to reach out to.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't mind putting your email in the chat, just so that way I can share it with the director of the Center of Native Knowledge. I'm not sure if your curator could probably already have a contact with her, but she has a wealth of knowledge for the local indigenous history of the area. And just as a background, if you need help with researching or writing or anything like that, I do have a background in archaeology and anthropology. So, I'm always looking to give back in any way. So, you know, if you need help, I can help.
You just volunteered to help.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. And I will put my email down here in the chat. I'm trying to figure out how to open the chat. There it is.
To build on what Enid just said, the director of the Center for Native Knowledge, not only does she have a huge background in the Lenape people, but she was also raised in the Caribbean. She has a wealth of knowledge on the Taino
Yes.
Oh, very
history.
cool.
So she has really, really, really good, not only for the, the location where we're at, but the majority of the diaspora of the Spanish speakers that live here, that is our native background. And
Yes.
she has knowledge on
Awesome.
both of them.
And interestingly enough, Berks County is a statistical anomaly for Indigenous people. We have a higher rate of Indigenous people in our county than we do in the southeastern northern part of the United States as well. So, yeah. Tanya and I identify as Indigenous Taino people, if you couldn't tell. But yeah, definitely. I will share your information with Amanda, and if you guys need any help, we're more than welcome to help.
So you got
Awesome. Yeah,
some new
I really
resources.
appreciate that.
Yeah, some new resources here.
Yes.
You also raised a question, and I'm not sure I know what you're trying to get to. Did they mention anything about land acknowledgement? What do you mean by that?
So, a lot of websites, in particular for larger museums, I think the Reading Museum also has it as well. They just do a land acknowledgement on their website, and they typically have like a placard somewhere in the waiting area of their facilities, just acknowledging the historical occupants of the land in which your building stands and allowing space for that, I think is super important. Um,
Good. Good idea. Well, you talked about transportation being a focus. And right now, the city of Reading and Berks County are being very aggressive about trying to bring passenger trains back to Berks County. So that's an issue, a topic that could be of great interest in making connections to that. Have you had any conversations at all with people that are trying to bring the trains back to Reading?
I have not personally has those discussions, but yes, I believe that our board and some of our staff have been talking with them. I had the opportunity to meet Christian Leinbach, who I know is kind of trying to move this project
Right.
forward with bringing the trains back. I have been waiting for this day because as a former and current now again resident of Berks County, I had taken a job in Philadelphia, which meant that I had to uproot my entire self and go to Philadelphia for some time, and I really didn't want to do that. I wanted to stay at home, but the commute was just too much, and I think it is going to provide so much more, not only tourism but availability for jobs and things, if we get trains back into the city. So I'm very excited for that to happen. And yeah, it'll be the perfect kind of opportunity for us to use our transportation exhibit and talk about, what changes happened in the city that stopped the trains in the first place, and kind of be able to juxtapose those two things and really dive into why, what happened, how, and make it really kind of an exhibit that makes you think.
Um, as we've talked a little bit about, there are a number of organizations in this area that could be significant partners for you. The NAACP, for example, I know the center has done some work with them and engaged them. The Hispanic Center, I think, could be a good opportunity. We talked about the Reading Museum a little bit here, about a partnership with them. They're doing some interesting things. They have a new director, older than you in the job, but still a new director. And he's trying to make some significant changes and do more connecting with people. The libraries, I think, could be resources. Just wanted to encourage you to think about some of those partners and reaching out to them. And I hate to, you got a big job right now anyhow, but making it bigger is going to be a challenge. But it might be worthwhile to set up some opportunities to have conversations with some of those organizations. What do you think?
Yeah, and I think too, that's one of the goals that I have on my list is to get us a bit more interconnected with other community organizations around us. So I feel like that is something that we can really, really improve on. So I am slowly making those steps to make those connections. But I've only been here since October. So if you have suggestions on who to reach out to and who we should be connecting with and talking to, I would really appreciate it because that helps me, and it helps our community at large once we get everybody working together.
Good. So we'll encourage people to connect with you. You talked a lot, or not a lot, but a significant amount about educating kids about the history and engaging them. How are you doing that? What can they do? And do you have connections to any of the educational institutions, the schools?
Yeah, so our education director, Vicky, she kind of leads the school tours program. So what we have the ability for students to come in from all the local school districts, see the museum, hear the presentations. We have docents that give those tours specifically for the kids. But I think these new and improved exhibits are going to really get them a little more excited about what we have in the collection and what it means as far as significance in culture and history of the county.
You talked about historic heroes. Can you tell us a little bit more about who they are and how they get selected and what the qualification is to be a historic hero?
Yes, let me pull up my cheat sheet. Um, because I am not 100% certain we've selected our full 12 yet. So, right now I'm seeing a few of our current local people from city council. I am seeing, I think Keith Haring is on there for his impact in the artwork sort of thing. But I feel like there's a further list, and I can't bring that up off the top of my head right now. So that's something too. If you want, I can send out an email that has who we've targeted so far for those things.
And are you open to suggestions for historic heroes?
Yeah, we'd love that because right now I know some of the people that we're featuring, we do have items that belonged to them, which is cool. So we can highlight that along with their portrait and their video introduction or however that may be. But yeah, it would be cool because that's something that we could also rotate and change.
Can you talk a little bit about who you might be looking for? There are people living now, so you can get them to do statements, right?
Yeah, if we have folks that are with us still, that's great. People who have done significant work in the community, as far as, maybe lawmakers, things like that. And we're also looking, of course, back into um, art history as well. So significant artists that may or may not be well known to the greater audience, but would be cool to hear from them.
You had also showed the Penn Square, the historic Penn Square interaction. Talk about that a little bit more. What time period is it? What do people get to do and see?
Yeah, so the Penn Square model, as it is, which you can see it today, is colonial representation of what Penn Square looked like um, around and before the Revolution. So um, it has some of the major founders of the county, their homes and things like that, and it shows all of that. And you should be will the plan is to have them be able to kind of come to life so you can take a look at a building, find out who lived there, and then those will be in conjunction with a portrait or items we have of theirs or items that were part of that house, that you can then view. And we'll also plan to have some videos where well, for those colonial people, obviously we'll be having actors come in and do the voices for that. But you'll be able to kind of talk with them. Very not quite as complex, but similar to the Reading Museum's uh, display with the mummy. We're actually working with the same company that did that for them.
Oh, cool, cool. At the very beginning, you talked about highlighting things of Pennsylvania's Americana region. And I think you probably know that the Tourist Bureau is changing their slogan. So are you going to keep using that phrase for a while or
No, I think we're going to be updating the video. We kind of took from them to kind of highlight that it was I believe our initial tour was in conjunction with something that we were doing with Experience Berks at the time. So we'll probably go back in and do the voiceover over again to change the name of the region.
good? We have a relatively small audience and actual attendance here, and I want to sort of open it up and give other people a chance to say anything. I know we were very much encouraged to reach out to you and highlight the History Center by Linda Kelleher, and I don't know if Linda wants to say anything or not, and sorry to impose on you, Linda. I hope she's still there.
Oh,
Yes.
she's still there.
Do you want to say anything?
No, I'm not going to comment. Thank you.
Okay. And Bill Schiller, do you want to say anything? He's even shyer. Well, anybody have any comments or questions that they feel like they want to raise or points they want to make, help Mandy with? And then we will give people back their time. Mandy, do you have any closing comments you want to make?
Just that I really appreciate you guys taking the time to be with me today. I am so excited about these projects coming up, and yeah, and I need resources. So, you know, especially from other cultures, and it would be so great to kind of start that dialogue and help each other make sure that there's accurate representation in our museum. So I appreciate any comments or suggestions that you want to send my way. I did stick my email down in the comments, so please reach out to me if you'd like to. And I appreciate your time and thank you.
Good. We will, I'll come back to that in a minute, but we'll send out your email address to everybody along with the video and as much of the PowerPoint and the video that you did that we can. We'll obviously send a copy of this recorded message. Molly, you have a question?
I was just wondering, excuse me, I was wondering if I missed anything about information available to residents to come, access resources in the library. What kind of resources are there in the library? You know, can we do research about our properties or things like that?
So if you are doing property research, I would say start with Recorder of Deeds. Their free website is amazing. And there you can kind of get that initial bit of information you might need to start then looking at the people who either owned the property or sold it or however that may be. And then our library does have we do have a research librarian that can perform some genealogical research and things for people. And we have, oh my gosh, cemetery records, church records, I think a few million now photographs that were featured in the Reading Eagle, things like that. So there is so much over there. I don't think I could even list off what exactly we have, but we do have a little search function on our website that you can use as well. But if you don't see it there on the website, just come into the library because it probably just hasn't been put online yet.
And can people borrow the material from the library or do they have to use it at the library?
No, it has to be used at the library.
And it includes historic genealogy stuff.
Yep.
Cool.
I will say that Miss Keller pointed me in the direction of your resources in terms of like your historical documents. I was working on a grant and I needed to find a letter of incorporation for the city because the city existed before the nation existed.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the funder wanted this letter. And, we have documents inside City Hall. But Linda was so nice. She was like, hey, listen, reach out to this person. The likelihood that they'll have this document is probably very high. And you guys got it to me within less than a day. Like, I'm pretty sure I had it in less than 6 hours. And it was wonderful and it came in really clutch. And I just wanted to let you know that that was super cool of you guys to share that with me. And also really interesting just to see in terms of the fact that, the city is, I don't want to say ancient, but I guess in terms of it existed before America existed, before America had its name. And so that was
Yeah.
really cool and interesting for me to be able to see and be able to share with people. So thank you.
So Mandy, it sounds like you've got a lot of interested partners here that would be willing to help you out with stuff. So feel free to reach out to them as well. Terrific. We're really excited to have you there. And it sounds like you've got great ambitions and the energy to do this stuff. This is great. I have one bizarre question I have to ask you. You talked about the guests that are going to be at the History Center leading up to Christmas. And you mentioned Belsnickel. What is that? Who is that?
So the Belsnickel is, oh gosh, what's a good way to describe him? He's kind of like Santa Claus, except that he gives candy to the good kiddos and threatens them with switches for the bad kiddos. But this is more of a family-friendly, kind of representation of this is the kind of Santa Claus that the PA Dutch had. And he's a really interesting and unique figure in our culture that I don't know, it's fun to have fun with. And so the gentleman who is portraying the Belsnickel, I can attest that he is not going to be smacking anyone with switches. He is a very nice gentleman. So yeah, we're excited for that program to kind of just see a different side of Santa Claus in the Christmas season.
So give you one more chance to mention both of the events that you had taught that are going to be coming up. So mention them again if you don't mind.
Yep. So that is our second Saturday. That'll be this Saturday. More information is on the website. And then we have our holiday boutique on Sunday with vendors that will be in conjunction with the Center Park Historic District's house tour. So it will be open for free to the public on Sunday from 11 to 4.
Great. Thank you, Mandy. Really very engaging and it's exciting to see what the future of the Berks History Center is going to look like, just as much as what the past of Berks County looks like. So thank you very much for doing this. And thank you everybody for joining us. This will be the last community forum that we'll be doing hosted by the Berks County Community Foundation, but we're going to continue the program on with Spotlight PA Berks Bureau. We're going to continue to have a partnership and relationship with the Community Foundation, but we really appreciate everybody's participation in these events over this year and over the past several years, and look forward to people continuing to engage with us. Looking for topics, looking for thoughts, looking for ideas, and Mandy, who knows, we might have you back at some point to talk